All right, we are live on the Life with Nick podcast. It has been a long fucking journey to get here, but we are here in the booth, and I am very, very grateful to get one of my good buddies of life to come on here and do the first episode. This is a guy that has got an incredible sense of humor. He shoots it straight and no BS with him. And we're going to talk a little hunting, a little fishing, a little NASCAR, and everything in between. So, without further ado, Don, what's going on, brother?
Not a whole hell of a lot. Just got done grilling some steaks out on the deck. Went to work today like a normal human being. Like,
That's good, man.
yep,
That's funny.
it's kick.
Yeah. So we were just chatting off here a little bit. So let's get right into the walleye stuff here. So you were telling me that right now is a really good time to go out there because of the temperature change in the water. But let me just phrase it like this for somebody that may not know. So if you're telling a first timer when to go out, how to go out, and all that good stuff, what's your wisdom bestowed on them for this particular topic of conversation?
Oh, well, if I had any wisdom, it would be save about $150,000, get a really nice ass boat, wait until about the middle of March and go find a river and go upstream about as far as you can, find some slack current and just drop down a minnow. I mean, it's crazy what they do this time of year. They all pretty much congregate as far upriver as they can go. They're chasing warmer water, and it's right around 38, 40 degrees. You'll see them. They start to spawn. So um,
So this is this like as dramatic as like what salmon will do?
oh no, it's not that dramatic. It's not like they're jumping up out of the water.
Yeah, getting eaten by bears.
Yeah, no, it's nothing like that. Usually fish them in deeper water. Um, 15, 20 feet, is usually where I try to stay. But uh, this year's been so weird. I mean, it's 80 degrees right now. It's been tough. There's so much water, melt water
Yes.
from the
Yeah,
north.
so I was gonna ask you about that because like in Iowa we have this really random like blast of like 75. So you guys are getting like 80 degrees up north?
Oh yeah, it's 81 right now.
Damn.
Oh, I mean, it was hot, real hot today, and I was out yesterday even, and it was low 80s. So
Wow. Dude, the Midwest is just fucking stupid when it comes to weather because like we had those tornadoes a couple weeks ago, but I'm not going to take us down that rabbit hole. Um, so one thing that was cool was last year, yeah, last year was it twice that I went fishing, or was your bachelor party the year before last?
mine was the year before. Mine was 2021.
Okay. Yeah, so like are they, and that's a lake that we were at, but how like are they coming from a larger pool of like body of water up the stream, or like how are they getting there? Because like I understand the concept of like the Mississippi because we live by that, but I'm just curious up north what you guys are working with.
Yeah, so actually, that lake we were on for my bachelor party is actually part of the Mississippi River uh, system.
Really?
Yes. So it flows through a series of lakes. It starts at Lake Itasca,
Okay.
which is, let's see, it's probably about 50 miles north of where we were. But it's just a series of small little creeks in between those lakes.
Gotcha.
So it eventually works its way further south from where we were up near Cass and Leech and all that area. And it works its way through all those lakes and eventually becomes its own independent, stream. And it just accumulates and accumulates water over a period of time. And what those fish do on them big lakes like that is uh, they will winter and summer and fall, they're in those big lakes. But in the spring, when it's time for them to lay their eggs, if there is a river tributary, pouring into that lake, if it's not like a spring fed lake, if you have a bigger body of water pouring in there, they will actually swim up that tributary and go spawn in those tributaries. Why? It's mostly just a matter of, just the way fish are.
I was just gonna ask that. I was like, that seems like a lot of work to lay eggs, but
I mean, it's got a lot to do with habitat. Um, I'm sure it's got a lot to do with water temp. Um, I mean, I'm no fish biologist by any means. I just catch the damn things,
yeah,
but
you just catch them and fucking eat them.
pretty much,
So here recently, when you went out this week, were you on the Mississippi or you were? Okay.
that's
Yeah,
my,
because sometimes down here in Iowa, I always forget how far north that goes into your world. Because like obviously from Manchester, it's a quick shot over, but that shit goes, because that it flows all the way up to Canada, right? Or like in reverse.
no, Lake Itasca is actually in Minnesota, northern
Okay.
Minnesota.
So it
The
all trickles down from.
Yes, so the Mississippi River actually has tributaries as far west, to the Rocky Mountains. You know, the Mississippi
Really?
River watershed is the largest in North America. It's huge.
Okay, so hold on just one sec because I want to stop there for a little bit. So like from the mountains, that's all in some ways just gravitating towards. And is it just like the larger area, or like how do you define the Mississippi? What was the word you used? It was way more smart than what I was.
Or
Yes.
the watershed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the watershed is every little river that you come across in Iowa where we grew up. Every single tiny little river in that state eventually pours into the Mississippi. And the same holds true for Minnesota, Wisconsin, um, even the Ohio River, the Missouri River that starts, damn near up in the Rocky Mountains.
Damn.
So, I mean, it's the watershed is huge, and it's just a big accumulation of all that water coming into one spot.
I mean, it makes sense. I'm not trying to like dramatize it. I just would never thought that all that is interconnected.
Yeah, no, it's water is crazy.
It's fucking awesome, but it's dangerous and every other thing. But to go back to you doing some fishing here recently, you had mentioned that this last weekend, there was 200 people out there with you. Is that just because everything's going fucking crazy right now, or?
That's just a product of the walleye spawn. I mean, it's the most popular time of year for guys to go, fish them. They'll travel. We get guys from all the way up in the cities, the Twin Cities. They drive all the way down here. Actually, yesterday when I was out, there was a couple of younger guys, probably our age. They drove all the way from Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
Goodness, that's at least 10, not 10 hours maybe, but that's
Probably a 5-6 hour drive, but
because
you know
Sheboygan's way over there.
it's easier for them to just go to Green Bay. But I'm sure it's just as much of a shit show at Green Bay as it is, up here in my neck of the woods because uh, where I fish, Pool 4 of the Mississippi, which pool is just the dams separate it. So the stretch from
Ah,
dam 4 to dam 5, they call it Pool 4. So
okay.
um, that's Pool 4. I don't want to speak on it too much, but it's honestly one of the best fishing spots.
Yeah, don't reveal your secret spot to the public.
It, there's so much water to be covered there, from Red Wing all the way down to Wabasha. I mean, there's so many little back sloughs, and I mean Lake Pepin, which is part of the Mississippi River system, is just a huge lake. It's 2 miles wide at its widest point, and I mean, that's one of the best walleye fisheries on the planet.
That's
And I
awesome.
live 20 minutes away from it.
Yeah.
He talks about Lake Erie and all these lakes up north, and I'm sure it's great fishing up in Canada. I've never been there, but I only have to drive 20 minutes to go get it. So
Yeah, it's like people that live in Colorado, they get to ski some of the best mountains, in the world, and that's just because they live there and they're fucking lucky. So you just lucked out on that. Did you convince Maggie to move there just because that's what you wanted to do?
no, I actually moved to school in Winona, which happens to be right on the Mississippi. And to be honest with you, I had never really fished the Mississippi all but maybe 3 or 4 times my whole life growing up. You know, I wasn't like a big fisherman. I would go out and I'd throw a worm in the water and I'd fish all the time, but I wasn't targeting anything, and I wasn't actually applying any sort of knowledge. I was just, bobbering a worm, go out, catch some catfish, and sit on the riverbank with all our buddies and get drunk. And
Oh yeah.
you know how
I didn't do much fishing. I did plenty of beer drinking and cigar smoking, that's for sure.
that there was a lot of that.
Well, fuck, dude. Let's I'll cheers you. First podcast.
Cheers.
Yeah, you're drinking Coors now because I know this was a big controversy, but
Well, I
Bud
got
Light.
any lights here.
Oh yeah, because Bud Light, I won't go into much detail there, but
I know.
yeah, cheers, brother. It's awesome to have you on the podcast and get this thing back and going. But
Yeah.
you brought up a great point, and this is something I actually was genuinely curious about, just because we didn't go to college together. I know we partied a little bit in college, but so in high school, like you were saying, like when do you transition into the intense fish? I don't know if intense is the right word, just because I go 0 times or, one time a year. Like when does that happen for you? Is it just because you're working up there or what?
No, it mostly, I mean, I've always liked to fish. I always considered myself more of a hunter than a fisherman as a young kid. Did a lot of, I had a hound dog. We'd run rabbits and squirrels and raccoons, pretty much anything that you could hunt up, when there's open season. So, but, I always liked to fish, and I had poles and stuff. I'd go to Walmart once a year, buy a $20 fishing pole and a little tackle box and just carry that around and just go whenever I wanted to. I didn't really have a burning desire to fish every day of my life. And a lot of that changed as we got older. So everybody goes off to college, and as one does, you taking in all those new experiences, and
Right.
you're out partying. You don't really have a whole lot of time for all that. I would turkey hunt with Hunter and Tyler and Justin all the time. And
When you were at Iowa State.
yeah, that was a big thing for us, was to get together every spring and turkey hunt. And, I didn't really do much else. I grew up squirrel hunting a lot. And I hate to say it, but I don't think I've squirrel hunted in probably 10 years. It's been a long time. But
Yeah, I
that,
knew that you always did do that, and I knew that you kind of not I don't know if elevate away from that is the right way to say it, but I just feel like you're frying bigger fish, no pun intended, on what you're hunting now.
so the fishing deal, I didn't really get back into it really hard until, so I met Maggie, and that was in the spring of 2016. That was at that tailgate party that we had at Tyler's, and we met and we got to talking and talked on the telephone for, I don't know, a good 2-3 months. And I convinced her to, let's meet up and we'll, go do something together. And she came down to Iowa, and that was pretty much it. We started dating there. We did a year and a half of long distance, and we had a conversation one day. I went up to visit her, and I was going to leave to head back to Iowa, and we just had the conversation, like, if we're gonna do it, let's do it.
Yeah.
This,
Fuck yeah.
I mean, a year and a half of long distance is a long time, when you're 3.5 hours apart when she's at school, and then when she's not at school back in her hometown, we're 5 hours.
Right.
So we just had the conversation, and it was like, if we're gonna do it, let's just do it now.
Right.
I
Yeah, that's fair.
And I had no strings attached. I was out of school at that point, working, and in my line of work, you can always find a job pretty much anywhere. So I was able to pack up my shit, all I had, into a little 2-door Chevy Colorado,
Yeah, buddy.
and moved my ass up to southern Minnesota. And we lived in Winona for, God, I want to say 3 or 4 years. And so I moved up there in the summer of 2017, just before the fall semester started for them. And I lived in a house with 9 girls.
Wait, 9? I thought before it was like 4.
Oh no, it was, I mean, so it was 3 separate apartments, but
Oh, okay.
we pretty much, it was all 3 apartments that was all that was in the basement. And it was just all of us.
Wow.
It was me, 9 other girls, and then there was one other guy that they lived with. He was pretty cool too. So I ended up living with them. But that first year, my grandpa got to talking about selling his boat. And I was like, what do you want for it? And he said, I don't know. What's your price? And I was like, I don't know. I've never fucking,
Fucking bought a boat before, Grandpa.
I've never even ran a boat motor. I don't know. Never even run a trolling motor. I don't know. I kayaked. That's about all the experience I got, So we negotiated a deal. I gave him, I don't know, $150 a month, and it totaled out to be, I don't know, close to $4,000. I ended up paying for it, and paid him for that by the month because in the meantime, I ended up deciding to go back to uh, a tech school to learn how to weld.
Okay, interesting. So that's actually part of the story that I'm not familiar with.
Okay, so we can backtrack a little bit before I bought the boat. I moved up there and I took a job at Ashley Furniture, and it was just the first thing I found.
Interesting. Like, were you driving truck, or what were you doing for them?
Oh, I was actually manufacturing.
Ah,
I was building frames and stuff,
okay.
What I failed to realize was that I was getting paid all of $12 an hour, and they were like, "Oh, if it was all production based, like if you do this much extra, you make this much extra money." So they're like, "Oh yeah, you'll end up making like 22, 23." And I was like, "Hell yeah, I'm fresh out of school,
Yeah,
that's
no shit.
$1,000 a week. Hell yeah, I'll do that." And it was fairly easy work, but I got there and it was just, I mean, the biggest clusterfuck you've ever seen. And that lasted a month. And
You said, I'm out of here. This is
I
ridiculous.
went to go take a piss in the middle of the workday. I took a piss and I was walking back to my work spot, and I got halfway there and I was like, just this thought came into my head. I was like, this is fucking stupid. This has to be
Yes, dude.
the most pathetic thing I've ever done in my life. And I feel like the biggest pile of shit for even being here right now. So I walked my ass into the break room, grabbed my keys, grabbed my lunch pail, and I got my truck. Didn't even call Mags at the time. I just drove back to Winona. Got to Winona and I went straight to the tech school.
Gotcha. Okay. Just knowing you, that is just fucking hilarious though. Say, hey,
Oh yeah.
I'm out. We'll
Yeah.
see you guys.
No, I didn't even say anything. I just grabbed my shit and left.
So the guy goes, "Where's Donovan at?" He said, "Oh, I don't know. I haven't heard from him in like 3 weeks. Oh, I guess he quit. Maybe he's on PTO."
Yeah. Yeah. So I went down to the tech school. It was Minnesota State College Southeast there in Winona, and I signed up they had building and trades programs, all that sort of stuff. Because I just always kind of knew as a young kid, school was not. Anybody who knows who I am knows that I don't. School was not my thing, and it's not that I'm not book smart. I'm a great test taker.
Yeah.
I wouldn't consider myself like a genius. I mean, I'm pretty literate. I I
You're
know
not a
a little.
you're not a dumbass.
Yeah.
Maybe said another way.
Yeah. So it just ended up being that I just kind of come to realize that I was going to end up working with my hands in some capacity, and
Yeah.
why they don't just, like, every fucking adult that I've ever known, why they didn't just tell me, hey, don't go to college. I had never heard that once in my life. I never heard
Yeah.
that, and I got a bone to pick with a lot of fucking old people because of that. But
Well, there was I would say, looking back now, there wasn't even, and maybe you had different experience, but I doubt it. But like, there wasn't even an option to say that. It was like the question was, where are you going to college, not are you going to college?
yeah, and I didn't realize at the time that an 18-year-old kid fresh out of school, if you're just willing to show up and work, you could drive down to your local union hall and sign up for an apprenticeship, learn a trade, and by the time your buddies are all graduating college, you're sitting there with a house, brand new truck, you know, and not that those things are important, but you're ahead. You're not behind. You're not $80,000 in debt behind. You're ahead and you're
Boom.
money. And I've had this conversation with Mags just in the way that I am and the lifestyle that we live, we are just regular down home people. Like I'm a blue collar worker. And
Yeah. I
he's a
mean, that's
senior. If
right.
you have a son and for some reason he doesn't want to go to school, you know, I'm gonna preach, learn a trade.
Right away.
Well, and honestly, the only reason I could see for myself to even think about going to college was if I would have had it paid for. And I mean, that's all in the past. It's mistakes are mistakes, but
Yeah, hindsight's 2020 for sure.
I had to fuck that up to figure it out the hard way. But
Same, bro.
yeah, it
But
is.
though it is unfortunate though that with how much, I mean, we pissed around all throughout high school. There wasn't, I mean, there was a small amount of application, and I mean, here I am with fucking ADHD bouncing off the walls. I'm hanging out with you. I'm hanging out with Dudak. Dudak was probably the most ability to stay diligent on his actual classwork. I mean, Jack too,
Yeah,
TA maybe, but like right away, I mean, we were not going to be sitting in an office on 9 to 5 doing that shit. So
that was never a part of my plan, and that's never anything I've ever desired to be a part of. Because, I mean, honestly, now that I look back at it, all of my hobbies, sports and outdoors and drinking beer, you don't get paid to do those unless you're a real big professional, you know?
right.
And, there's no options. What do you do? I'm not really prepared to, sit in an office for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'm just, that's just to me like a sedentary lifestyle like that is just so meaningless. And I just, not that what I do is any better. I mean, I sit in a shop and I weld metal together for 10 hours a day. But
Yeah, but you're still moving project to project and doing, welding is not something that any Joe Schmo can walk in to do. But um, let me circle us back to getting into fishing, and
yeah,
that's okay. But that's it's awesome. This is why I love podcasting right here. But so got the boat from Grandpa,
yeah,
and then we went to. So is this simultaneous with going to tech school?
yes. This
Okay.
was, in the while I was in school, it was more towards the end. It was a 9-month program. So towards the end of that program, it was probably that April or May. It was right shortly before I graduated. We struck up a deal. So I picked that up and I brought it home, and I had never ran a boat motor before. And it's a tiller, which means you basically you sit in the back of the boat and you steer the engine with a handle. You don't have a steering wheel or anything.
Okay.
You run it with a tiller handle. So I had never done that before, and I didn't honestly I didn't have any idea how to load and unload the fucking thing off the trailer.
I mean, I wouldn't know the first thing. It looks easy in concept, but actually lining up a boat is a whole nother thing.
Yep. Well, and I mean, it didn't take me long. It took me all of 2 tries and I figured it out. I mean, and I've been running that river ever since. I've learned
Hell yeah.
from what or from like Winona to Red Wing. I've learned that stretch of river so well that I mean, any given day, you say, hey, it's 15-mile-an-hour winds. It's 60 degrees. Here's you got to match bug hatches. You're looking for what type of bait fish are running around, and you learn tendencies. And I mean, I've only been here. This is my 6th year, I think, of living in Minnesota. So it's taken me a little bit, but I'm getting really confident now that I can go out and I can catch fish almost on command. I can go find them and know what they're doing. So
Hell yeah. Well, and you had just thrown some terms around too that I want to unpack a little bit just because I think this is something that I would not know about, but also I find this very interesting because, like, from a non-fishing perspective, right? You go up, you throw the fucker in the water, and you pray and hope, and obviously that's not the right way to do it. But so let's go here. So we're just getting the boat. We're doing a lot of trial and error. Are you just literally just taking the boat out and just scouring and surveying the land while fishing just to do straight up trial and error, or what's that look
yeah,
like?
yep. So most of what I did when I grew up fishing was a lot of just like a small little jig head, and you throw a night crawler on it and you toss it down there and you see what bites. And found a lot of success catching pike, smallmouth bass, catfish, anything like that, just basic river fish, nothing too crazy. So this walleye thing, I just, never had any idea of the world of walleye fishing. Didn't know. I mean, I knew it was big up north, and I knew that they were harder to catch, and they're one of the most desired sport fish to catch and eat. I mean, that's a fish fry staple up here.
Hell yeah.
Friday. I mean, it's not just during Lent; it's every Friday.
It's religion up north, baby.
So I never really got into that until, when I met Megs, and I went and I met her dad for the first time, and we went out fishing. He goes, "Well, you do any walleye fish?" And I said, "No, I've probably caught two my entire life up until that point." So we went out and we just went trolling and caught a few walleyes, and I was like, "Huh, that's pretty cool. Maybe I'll try that, where I'm living." And went out, tried it, caught a few, and just got pretty good at that, and learned a few things about how to jig for them, and
Hell yeah.
just different spots where you can target them, because they inhabit a lot of the same types of waters like a smallmouth bass does. So you'll catch a lot of one or the other. If you're targeting walleyes, you'll catch smallmouth bass by mistake, or if you're targeting smallies, you'll catch walleyes by mistake, because they like cold, fast water.
Gotcha.
Next to slower water, current seams, you got one body of water going this way, one stretch of water going the other way. They call it an eddy. So I fish a lot of eddy currents and drop down vertical jig. And that's where those fish sit, in that slow water where that fast water is coming by. And anything that goes by them in that fast water, that's what they pick up.
Yeah, so this is I'll remember to come back to some of the other stuff, but one thing I remember you telling me one time is that walleye are a predator fish. And so just speak on very general terms, like what is a predator fish, and then there'll be some other things that come up for sure.
Yeah, predator fish, sport fish, they're what you would consider like the um, at adult ages, you would consider them top of the food chain. So you got, first and foremost, your northern pike, muskies, catfish, those fish that get, I mean, 40, 50, 60 inches long, and they all have teeth, and they're just, I mean, they're ferocious. They're crazy. A lot of fun to catch, but I mean, walleyes are more of a compact, um, 30 inches a big walleye. That's huge. And I mostly target the 15 to 20 inches for eating. So I'm not out there trophy fishing every day. Every once in a while, if I get a limit early, I'll go out, try to catch some big ones. But um, for predator fish, I mean, they are just, it's instinctual. A lot of it is. So
Instinctual from the fish's perspective or for yours as a fisherman?
yeah, from the fish's perspective. So my job, if I want to catch predator fish, is to mimic bait fish as closely as possible.
Mm,
So being where bait fish are is a big thing. And knowing what type of bait fish and, size, behavior, um, just anything like that. It's all trial and error.
yeah, I was just gonna ask that too, because it seems like first off, you got to know the lay of the land in general, just by boating out there and seeing what the hell's going on. And then from there, I'm sure second step is, okay, what the hell is even in the water and what are they going after? And I mean, this seems probably very, 101 to you, but like obviously your tackle box is going to have a variety of different things. Do you have like a specific walleye section within the tackle box, or is that taking it too far to the extreme?
Entire tackle.
That's
since,
fair.
since I got into it, man, I don't think I've targeted any other species open water in a long time. Um, I'll go catch bluegills, every now and again, but I mean, for the most part, dude, if I'm fishing, I'm walleye fishing. And
Hell yeah.
that all changes in the wintertime, which is a totally different ball game.
Yeah, I mean that we'll get into that a little bit later on, but so to go back to so we go out with Maggie's dad, we get a little bit of flavor for it. Um so how do you learn the art form? Because I do think that that is like a really cool piece of the pie. Like for example, I went to the golf range last Thursday evening. And to me, the presence of just hitting golf balls was just like a peaceful thing to do. I'm assuming the art of fishing is very similar to that. But like, yeah, just talk on like, is it a developed skill set? How do you get into the art of actually like casting, catching, and luring them in?
Yeah, it's a lot of picking people's brains. And um, I mean, YouTube and a lot of other sources, any sort of uh, anything you can read is really important, because there's a lot of knowledge that gets lost in today's world, because there's some old fishing books and magazine articles from the 60s and 70s that you'll come across, and they have more knowledge in there than you'll ever learn from some people, you know. And I've always been one of the guys, you think of fishermen as, you know, secretive and, you
Kind
know,
of reserved a little bit, maybe.
yeah, you know, you ask him, you know, you might ask a guy how he's doing. Oh, I haven't caught shit. You know, he's got 4 of them in his fucking live well. He's heading back to the boat ramp to go fry them up for supper. And I've never really been one of those guys. Like it, somebody else catching fish is not a threat to me at all.
Right.
I've always tried to be pretty transparent, because you never know. Those guys might be just starting out too, like I was a couple of years back, and they might not know, you know? So you got to help a guy out, you know?
Yeah, I feel like so that probably comes down to sportsmanship, just a little bit of like, obviously you're not actively competing. That's one thing, then it's like, all right, fuck you. I'm going to go do what I need to do. But I mean, in recreational fishing, you're just trying to contribute to the next guy.
A lot of that, yeah. So just a lot of asking questions with people that are knowledgeable. And I got lucky. My father-in-law is probably one of the smartest fishermen on the planet, and he gets that from his dad, who was he was a game warden in his day. He was really smart,
Ooh,
really big outdoorsman, um, you know, duck hunter, fisherman, um, just really smart all around guy he was.
hell yeah. I love that.
Randy's got more knowledge, you know, and he's really helped me a lot with that. You know, I've learned a lot from him just about targeting walleyes and how to present baits and stuff. And I mean, a lot of it, so every body of water is different. So I've learned how to fish a lot of things from his point of view, but a lot of the concepts are the same, but in practice, you have to change a few things.
Mm,
Obviously, with the Mississippi River being one of the largest rivers
yeah.
in North America, you know, it's very different from everything around it. So just taking a lot of stuff that a lot of the advice he's given me, and trying to, you know, apply it the best way that I can up here, because I mean, it's similar, not the same, but very similar.
Well, and I feel like too, you from a very young age were very good at receiving feedback from your environment. Like I know that seems a little bit like a specific detail, but like that's one thing I've always, because you've always been directionally sound. That's probably not the right word for it, but you always knew where you're at. You always knew where you needed to go. And so I feel like if you had a good mentor like that that just showed you a little bit, you could just, the feedback you get in your mind is just, I mean, it's so quick. The processor's so fucking quick.
Well, I've always been that way, I think, because I started, I mean, I was 3 years old, and, you know, I was shooting a pistol. My old man, he'd put his fist, and I'd set the barrel of the pistol on there just like that, because I couldn't hold it up myself, you know, and I would just pull the trigger, and it was a break action little 22 pistol, and he'd break it open, put another shell in there, put it in, shooting at the water, not shooting at nothing, just shooting at water. And I, you know, eventually graduated on. He got me a shotgun when I was 5 or 6 or something like that, and took me out squirrel hunting, you know, and first few times, he'd go with me and just kind of walk around, and he'd spot a squirrel and try to get me close enough to it where I could shoot it, and we'd do that. And then eventually, 7 or 8, I graduated on and I got my first rifle. And
That's a big deal in a man's life, I feel like.
yeah, I'll remember that the rest of my life. We went to a gun show and he just said, pick one out.
Wow.
And that was my birthday present that year. So I got a squirrel rifle at 7 or 8. I wasn't very old. And we got to squirrel hunting that fall. And it got to the point where we would go where we were going. And I knew we got lucky growing up with all that public ground around us.
Yeah.
So I got to learn all those places like the back of my hand. And by the time I was 8, my dad and I could get out of the car, load our rifles, and walk 2 separate directions, hunt, and come back. And if you think about that, a 8-year-old kid with a loaded rifle.
Right. And we're talking just a forest too. It's not like you're just, it's not like you're walking 100 yards and breaking out. You're in a fucking forest.
Yeah, anything and everything could happen. There could be a fucking mountain lion out there for fucking breakfast dragging.
Thank God there wasn't. That's fucking funny.
But yeah, I was always, an outdoorsman, and just it was the way I was growing up. And every birthday I had, my parents asked me what I want to do. I wanted to go hunting, fishing, and camping. That's all I wanted to do. Just wanted to be outside.
Hell yeah.
And
well, and I mean, me and you specifically did not spend a lot of time out there, but there's a lot of guys that were in that same field and I feel like, and you can definitely correct me on this, but outside of Justin, I mean, who else was really in that space? Because you have really lately switched from being like the person going out for your own pleasure and helping a lot of guys now.
Yeah. God, now that you say it, I didn't really hunt a lot with a lot of other people. I hunted with my dad for the longest time, and as teenagers do when you get older, you just want to do everything by your fucking self or with your friends.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And like a vast majority of our friend group is not completely illiterate to the outdoors, but they're not like, hey, in my free time, I'm going to grab my rifle and I'm going to go walking through the woods and, maybe kill a squirrel or, just walk through the woods with a rifle just to
do it for pleasure. Yeah.
So, me and Justin really were not friends at all, through middle school. And I don't know what it was. I think it was just the nature of our personalities. But it took one joke. We bonded over that, and all of a sudden, we were best friends from then on,
Hell yeah.
And every time we get together, it's a laugh. But we hunted a lot together. Jimmy kind of hunted with us every now and again. But for the most part, I've always, since I got to be older, I've just, almost preferred to do a lot of the outdoor stuff myself,
Right. Well, yeah. And I think too, Justin was an interesting guy in the picture, for you, because he's usually around a molar and some other guys that are more whitetail. And you never really dabbled whitetail I don't know if you have you ever dabbled whitetail?
Yeah, I've shot 2 or 3 deer my whole life,
but that never seemed to be your, flavor or desire.
It did not trip my trigger at all. And I don't know why. Just not my cup of tea, I didn't grow up. I didn't grow up with a passion for it. I love venison. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, it's fucking delicious, man.
I get some from my father-in-law every year. He saves some, he shoots 3 or 4 of them every year, and we get a couple back straps and some steaks and all that stuff. And it's really good. I love it, but I don't have the burning desire to, in my spare time, go freeze my ass off. Because to be honest with you, in the fall like that, September, October, I've recently got into the waterfowl stuff, so I've been duck hunting, goose hunting a lot these last couple of years.
Yeah.
When it comes to like November, when it's really time to hit the deer hard, I'm transitioning everything over. I'm thinking about ice fishing up here.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a horse piece. I could go without it the rest of my life without shooting a deer. But if I ever got hungry enough, I'd go out and kill one. I'd shoot the first goddamn deer I saw.
Yeah, it's just interesting how well, and I think it's very cool in some respects that that's not something that you dabble in because you need diversity, and it's very easy to get caught up in the whitetail game. And this is coming from someone that's never even shot and killed a deer, but I just have been around people that have, and I just think it's more cool to have the niche that you're in with duck hunting and more on the fishing side of things, and um, so now to combine a little bit of what we were talking earlier till now. So you're basically fishing all the warmer months, and then right when it gets cold, like go through a calendar year for us on that.
Yeah, so we'll start just for the sake of uh, you know, not breaking it up. We'll start in March. So March 1st is my day where I de-winterize my boat, get it ready. Um, we typically still have some ice up here, but I'll get my boat ready and I'll be ready for open water when it comes. And then like mid-March is like right about the time you want to start going out there, because at any given point in time, you could have a slow melt or you could have a fast melt like we've had this year where all of a sudden it's 80 degrees and everything is melting. The water
Yeah.
rises super fast and you need to be there when that water hits that certain temperature that makes those walleyes go nuts. And I'm the type of guy that I want to be there when it happens and not hear about it on Facebook and be rushing to get out there.
Mm,
So
yeah.
just being proactive about that. And then so that the walleye run like that usually lasts good 3-4 weeks. And then after they spawn, they disperse into whatever body of water it is. They spread out. They go wherever it is they're gonna go, and they do what fish do. And for me, that means I go to Lake Pepin and I troll out there, which basically means you know what a crankbait is. It's just a plastic bait that's got a um, bill on it that makes it dive and
Yeah,
swim.
I think I'm not sure if I had used one of those specifically at your bachelor party or TA's, but oh, I guess I didn't fish too much at TA's. But anyway, yeah, I think I recall. So basically, you're not having to do too much with it. It's going to do its own motion as it's going,
Basically, what I do is I drive about 2 mile an hour with my boat, and I throw about 50 yards of line out behind me,
and
and I
just
those crankbaits. And when those rods pop off and you got a fish on, you cut the motor, you reel the fish up, cast it back out, and start pulling it again. And
hell
that's,
yeah.
I mean, it's lazy, it's easy, and it's fun, and that's
Yeah,
just to spend
but
time.
I think too that's almost like you got to get a couple things going. Got to get some momentum going, and I feel like those are some easy way, or that's an easy way to get a little bit of live action.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's probably my favorite way to fish them, because I kick back. I look like a complete dick on my boat. I kick back. I'm just chilling there, cup of coffee, you know, hanging out, and everybody's getting to the boat ramp, and I'm leaving with a limit by the time they're all showing up.
Yeah, but I think that speaks to a little bit of dedication as well too, because everyone has the choice to do that, but you're smart enough to get out there and get after it.
Well, got to get it while you can.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, keep going on the calendar year here.
Moving through that, going to like the end of June is, so from like mid-April to late June is the peak trolling bite out there, and then the water usually gets pretty low because we run low on precipitation in those months, and the water gets real stagnant out there, and it turns green. It's got that algae in it, and it just gets
Uh
it gets real gross. So like June, late June, July, and August are, you got to wait for the right weather. I usually wait for cloudy, windy days, and those are the best days to go, because those fish, they recede out into the really deep water, out into 40, 50 feet of water, because it's colder down there. They're a cold water fish.
Yeah,
So,
I was just going to bring that up from the initial part of our conversation. So, temperature change wise, so summertime, they're probably saying, fuck this, I need to get way.
Yep. And what a lot of guys will do is they'll fish them at night, because the reason they call those fish a walleye is because they have so many more light receptors in their eyes. It's like if you were to shine a flashlight over their eye, there's that haze, there's a glare that comes off their eyes, it's just a white wall, and that's why they call them a walleye. But they have more light receptors in their eyes than any other freshwater fish up here,
See,
and
that's interesting. I didn't know that.
that's why a lot of guys will fish them at night.
Ah,
That's why you got to go early in the morning and late in the evenings, because as that sun sets or that sun is just starting to come up, they're up there feeding, taking advantage of the low light situations where those bait fish don't even know they're there.
so it's almost like they kind of creep in a little bit and then go to work when they need to and then get the fuck back down there.
Very narrow window, and as quick as they start, they'll shut off.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, you got to be ready to go when
Yes.
they're ready to go.
You have to be there. If sunrise is 5:30, you want to be out on the water at 5. So, I mean, it's just a matter of when you want to go. I mean, I know people that'll fish from 8 o'clock in the morning till noon and not catch a thing, and then they wonder why they're not catching nothing.
It's because these fuckers are sleeping. They've already had breakfast.
I can hear it 5 o'clock.
That's fair.
Going home. Are you not noticing?
Well, okay, so this is good too, though, because I know we were talking a little bit on the art of learning how to cast and how to lure and whatnot, but I feel like part of when you're wanting to go fishing, that process does not start right when you get on the water. I mean, I feel like you get a fucking buzz, going, not like an alcohol buzz, but like an energy buzz of like but like you get ready to go because you're like, all right, well, the prep, it's just like with hunting, like the prep is much fun as going out there and getting ready to go.
Yeah. I think for me, the most important thing is just having a hobby that I like to do, and it's not catching fish. I could really give a shit less catching fish, but I got something I like to do and I go do it. I got the freedom, I got the means, and I got the wherewithal and the desire to go do it. So I just go damn do it.
Right. So let me ask you this then, just to turn things a little bit. So when you're out fishing, is it just the experience itself that you enjoy and find relaxing, or are you using that time to, I don't know, think about life or whatever the hell comes to your mind?
To be honest with you, I don't think about a whole hell of a lot. I just like it being fucking quiet.
Well, you got Maggie and Phil running around, so it's,
Yeah.
I don't know how quiet it can be, but
sometimes, and I got really lucky. I married a woman that likes to do those things with me,
right.
A lot of guys go hunting and fishing to get away from their wives. I take mine with me. So I got that.
That was one thing that I did appreciate about Meg. So just a small freaking detour here, but talk about first times going out with her, either hunting or fishing. I just feel like that cranked up the love a little bit for both of you.
The first time I met her dad, when I drove up there to Stevens Point, we went out and we fished that Saturday. And I mean, she just whooped my ass. Just whooped my ass.
Plain and simple.
Yeah. And she does every time that we go, and it just, you can't speak enough to it. It's fun. Makes it interesting. You don't want to, if your wife, you take her fishing and all she does is piss and moan, you're not going to want to hang out in that setting,
Right. Well, yeah, you're going to want to have her entertained at least a little bit.
Yeah. And I recently got her into the duck hunting stuff with us. She shot her first duck 2021 opening day.
Hell yeah. Good for you, Mags.
Well, I actually, funny story. So we got her a license. There's an early goose season in Wisconsin with our friends Corey and Kelsey that live up there, and so we got her a license, and she says, I don't even know if I'm going to shoot. I might not even take a gun, but we wanted to get her a license just in case, because we were going to take the gun with us, and if she wanted to go, we were gonna let her shoot, And if she didn't, then we were going to use her limit, which is against the law. I didn't say that. But so we get out there, and we get the decoys all set up, and it's another one of those deals you got to get up super early for, and you got to be really dedicated, and you got to put the work in to figure it out. And we go out there and we're setting up decoys, and we think we got her just right. So we go and we're hunting this alfalfa field, and we're sitting. There's a cornfield bordering this alfalfa field. So we go and we sit 2 rows deep in the corn, and we just sit there. And there was a fence line about 150 yards to our right that had some big oak trees on it, and that's where all the birds were coming from because they were flying over top of us to get to a lake. And our idea was we're going to cut them off right here, and they're going to come feed in this alfalfa field before they hit the lake. So they first batch comes flying. We can hear them before we can see them, and we know that they're coming up over these trees. So I'm looking at Mags, and I said, "Are you going to shoot?" She goes, "Yep, I think so. Maybe. I don't know."
Which one is it? Shit.
I don't know. And so we had run through previously how to load the gun, how to shoot the gun. It's a pump action 20 gauge. So I showed her how to pump it, to reload it. And she goes, "I don't know if I'm going to shoot. We'll just let this first flock work and we'll see what happens." So this first flock of, I don't know, 6, 7 geese come up over these trees, and we see them. And they immediately, once they get over the trees, they start to come down like they're going to come work our decoys, you know. They come flying through, and they make one pass over our decoys, and we're calling away, and they make a big swing and turn, and they come back around. And the way the wind was playing, it was cutting kind of like a 45-degree angle across my face this way,
Okay.
you know. So those birds, they always fly into the wind because it helps them when they open their wings. It helps them slow down and set down real soft and easy. So
Interesting.
you always play your decoys with the wind. So we had this little barrier set up where they had to land before this set of decoys, so that they had to land closer to us. And these birds come flying right over top of us. I mean, I could have reached up and grabbed one of their feet. Their feet were hitting the tassels on the corn that we were sitting in.
Holy shit.
Cool. And these birds go right over top of us. And so they get right where I want them for shooting range. And I say, "Kill them." And she was the first one. She pulls up, shoots. She goes, "I fucking got it. I fucking killed."
Mags.
She's stalking all week. You know, I'm probably not going to shoot. Probably won't shoot. You know, I'll go, but I ain't going to shoot. You know, I know more than say kill. And she's bang, 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 you know, shoots her first goose. So that was really cool. And then a couple weeks later during duck opener, she shot her first wood duck. And that was a lot of fun for us. So we enjoy the outdoors together a lot.
Well, I feel like there's such a ceremonial reward for your first kill of any animal, and this is coming from someone that's only killed like fucking squirrels and chipmunks and shit.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's I think it's more rewarding for me nowadays to have experiences like that with other people, because I've been around it for so long. Like I mean, something dead. You know, I take a walleye home and I gut it. You know, it doesn't mean any more to me than the one I got a week ago and filleted up and ate. You know, it's not that I get bored with it, not that it doesn't mean something. You know, it's not meaningless, but you know, I've done it for so long that it's more fun for me to get people new to it. You know, people that
Well,
don't.
I was just gonna say, I feel like the mature, that's like the maturity of the sport itself, because you can only play for so many years before you're like, hey, let's get some other people involved in this. And
Yeah.
you know, it's like I can feel for that only because I know you and Maggie, and I know how that was just a cool moment to have her. It just really cracks me up though that she was very doubtful the whole time, and then just she's the first one just fucking lighting him up.
Yeah, she fucking threw us for a loop. I had no idea. I had she was gonna shoot, and then all of a sudden she's jumping around like a goddamn cheerleader. Yeah, she was real happy. It was cool. So
That's awesome. Now, do you guys go on to, well, in some ways, the answer to this is yes, but do you feel like you take home and eat more duck or more walleye?
oh, definitely more walleyes. I would be hard pressed to even guess how many walleyes we keep and eat a year. It's quite a few. You know, in the summertime when I'm going out every weekend I'm keeping a limit a day sometimes. If I'm pounding them real hard, I'll be pretty mindful to throw some back and just go out to just fish, not to keep. So I definitely eat more walleyes. I try to share a lot of walleyes with some of our friends that don't get a chance to fish as much. Like Tyler,
Yeah.
for example, he doesn't get a lot of chances to go out and do that, and they like to eat fish. So I try to get them some. I give some to my grandparents. My mom and dad like fish a lot, so
Hell yeah.
I try to distribute that quite a bit.
Well, and I know TA is really starting to get in the game. For both sides of the coin, him getting up there, and he came up to see you very recently, right?
Yeah, he actually just came about a month, maybe a little over a month ago, to do
Nice.
some sauger fishing on the river when it was still froze. It was the last week of good ice. So he came and fished that weekend, and then that Monday, the barges came through and broke up all the ice on the river.
Wow.
So that was the last weekend that we had to do that. So he came into that, and he's actually going to come this weekend, and we're going to try to go pound some walleyes. So
Fuck yeah. Well, let me bring us back just a little bit to the ice fishing transition.
yeah,
So December is starting to get cold a little bit. It's not near cold enough. It's been kind of weird the last 4 or 5 years. It's not cold in December. It's just getting to about 40 some degrees. And
well,
um,
you guys up
yeah,
here,
that's true. That's true. I always forget that you guys are so much further north. But um, I will say from the outside looking in, if you're north of the Twin Cities, because just like Illinois, very probably Republican state, Minnesota as well too, but there's one spot that's very liberal, Chicago, Twin Cities in this case. But there is no better lifestyle for a Minnesotan than getting their fucking RVs out on the ice and just fucking around, drinking beer and getting after it. So just talk on that a little bit because I've seen some of your snaps and it just looks fun as hell.
the ice fishing in the ice castles is one of the funnest things. It's it's the most fucking spoiled way to fish in your life. You have no idea how fun that is. Um, I mean, it's you're basically in a camper with holes in the floor, and it's warm, and there's TVs, and there's a mini fridge full of beer, and there's a grill and a stove and a card table in the back, and you sit around all goddamn day and you just drink and drink and drink and you fish and you play card games and it's the most fun you'll ever have in your life. And at the end of 3 days, you crank up, you drive off the lake, and you have the most fun of your life. And then you go back.
The next weekend, yeah, do it all over again. One thing I do think is very cool though that I do want to highlight is how thick is that ice? Because to drive a fucking RV, and I'm for those that whether you're someone listening from Korea or Canada or wherever the fuck, we're talking about a full length vehicle that is parked on a fucking lake. So that I think is very interesting.
Full length. It's a truck with a 17-foot, basically camper behind it. And so most lakes have ice minimums for styles of ice castles. So like 8 inches, 6 to 8 inches or so, they'll start to allow like four-wheelers, side by sides. No wheelhouses yet. You can take like your pop-up hubs and stuff, like what I run out of personally
Okay.
on here on the river. Um, right around 12 inches, they'll start to allow half-ton trucks with smaller size ice castles, like probably like the 6 and 8 footers. They're like really small, you know, it's almost like a little enclosed trailer, they're super tiny. And then you get more into like the 14 or so, then they'll start allowing like the single axle 16 footers, like what we fish out of in the
Gotcha.
um and then you get to like 16, 18 inches, and then it's basically, you could bring a fucking semi with a 30 footer out there if you wanted to. You know, they make 28 footers.
Jesus.
It's nuts, you know. But what we fish out of, it's a 17 footer, and it's just a little single axle. It only weighs 5,000 pounds, I think. So,
But how thick is the ice though?
um, typically you can pretty much bet in those lakes up north, right around Christmas, New Year's, you can bet you'll be able to get those 16 footers out there. Usually earlier December, like second week of December, you're taking your four wheelers and stuff out there.
Okay.
Um, it takes so long for those bigger lakes to freeze over completely up
Mm,
there that there's a lot of open water pockets, and the wind can blow those ice sheets around. They'll actually separate and they'll blow those ice sheets from one side
shit.
to the other. So you got to be really careful of that. But once it freezes solid, I mean, it's only a matter of time. Once it freezes solid, it seems to gain a lot more ice than it does when there's those open water patches. So,
Gotcha. Um, any horror stories of people being dumbasses and trying to?
um,
Because
we
that'd be one thing that'd make me a little queasy.
yeah, this year I was fishing with a buddy of mine, Tate. You met Tate.
I did, yeah.
We were fishing on the Mississippi River there, and we were a mile down river from where 6 trucks went in the water. Part. I mean, so I say the river, Lake Pepin, which is part of the Mississippi River, but it's like Lake Delhi. It opens up. There's hardly any current flowing through there.
Oh, okay.
Slow water. I mean, there's still current there, but it freezes up just as solid as any lake.
Yeah.
And what happened was we had a few 40-degree days and there was some rain, which totally eliminated a top layer.
Mm,
Ice and snow and all that pack that was on there. And 6 trucks went through the ice about a mile upriver from us. And we were thinking about
fuck.
that day. And I'm glad we didn't, because it was a shit show. You know, they had to call some tow trucks down there and got to hook them up and pull them out.
Holy shit. So did they go completely underwater?
A few of them did, yeah.
Oh, I think that's fucking metal as hell. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. But I've been pretty conscious about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll stand and fish on 3 inches of ice. That's no big deal to me. I won't sit in a shack. I'll sit on a bucket outside, you know, but that's usually early winter when it's, you know, not that cold, you know.
Right.
But I've never come close to falling through. I'm usually pretty diligent about checking ice conditions before I go. And, you know, I mean, it's not that fucking hard to not fall through the ice. You just don't be dumb.
Yeah, you don't be an idiot and try to park your big truck out there and
You hear horror stories up north. I mean, this year on Green Bay, there was never any good ice where it like solidly locked up. And there was one guy that was still sending people out there. I won't say his name on here just for reasons, but I mean, it's been 3 years in a row he's sent guys out on dangerous ice. And as a guy and owner of those shacks, you know, you got to imagine you're somewhat responsible, you know, because
right.
it, to me, if people are hiring you to take them out fishing, it's probably because they don't have the wherewithal to do it themselves.
Right.
They don't have the means to make that happen. So they rent a cabin from you and they rely on you to put them in a spot where they're not only going to catch fish, but they're not going to fall through the fucking ice.
They're not gonna die. Yeah.
So,
Christ.
I mean, you hear stories, it happens every winter, but it's just a matter of keeping an eye on the weather. I always try to stay in really good contact with the resorts that I usually go out of up north. You know, just making a lot of good contacts up there, and knowing people really helps, you know?
Yeah, and I feel like, if I think about, business in general, you would want to be well informed regardless of what's going on, and to have somebody that knows. I feel like being trustworthy is massive when it comes to that stuff.
Right. And I've been kind of pitching around the idea of even doing some guide work this coming winter here. Um, I have the equipment to do it, and I feel like I know the river well enough. So I've been kind of pitching around that idea, and I'm trying to think, how the hell, you know, these guys that run these big operations, they got to have some sort of insurance policy, and it's got to be a big deal.
Well, you would think that they got to have something to protect them. There's no doubt about that because otherwise they get sued all the time. But now, when you now to go down this rabbit hole a little bit, because I know we talked on this when I was up north there for the holiday. Can you be a one man shop in that world, or do you have to partner up with some bigger folks, or just what's that look like?
I don't, so I don't really have any desire to be like this big official, hey, I'm a fishing guide, I'm going to take you out fishing. It's going to be more of a word of mouth type of thing.
Yeah.
I'll throw some stuff on Facebook and say, hey, I'm looking to, if you want to come, I'm going to be out there anyway. If you want to come fish with me, you know, I have all the equipment you'll ever need. I got gear, I got bait. I'm going to be out there anyway. If you are interested in ice fishing, I'm going. And if you want some knowledgeable help and you want to catch fish, I'm more than willing to do that. So that's going to be more the route I'm going to take, because I feel like for me, like I don't get joy out of um like I don't have like a motivation to do it. I don't.
To do the fishing or to do the surveying work?
Well, more like doing the guide work and stuff.
Or the guide work, not survey work?
I just, that's not. I would love to share my passion for fishing with people. But I feel like the more you get people into it, maybe next year, that guy will go out and he'll buy his own stuff and he'll be another fisherman out on the water. And that means more dollars for habitat, because every time you buy something related to fishing, there is a tax that goes towards habitat and, conservation, all that stuff. So,
Well, I feel like just knowing you, I honestly like the marketing approach of just like, hey, I'm gonna just do this. If you want to come with, I'll help you out, but I'm not gonna, in the initial stages, because it's like sometimes you don't want to invest all that front end money, and then if you do and it doesn't work out, then you're out. Whereas if you're going the way you're doing it, it's like, hey, it's kind of like in the fitness industry. Like I go and work out in the evenings, work out with me, and let's do it, and I'll help you out. Not I'm going to invest 100 grand in a fitness company that could or could not perform well. Um,
be more, hey, meet me at the fucking boat ramp, give me 50, go fishing.
yeah, let's rock and roll.
All my bait, everything.
Yeah, well, and especially too, I think that in these years, so like we're 20, 27, 28, 29, 30, if that goes well, then maybe 32, 34, 35, you start looking into maybe doing a little bit something more serious if you're feeling compelled. But in these early stage years, I mean, there's two different schools of thought, because there is power in committing to something, but also you got to be there to commit in the first place. And I feel like it's more a hobby and casual for you at this point than what it would be to get after it.
Yeah, and it's, you got to test the waters out at some point. And I'm just, I would hope that some of my passion for the outdoors would rub off on somebody, because there's no need to be greedy as an outdoorsman.
Fuck no.
There's no need for it, and the more people you have out there, the more, you can make all sorts of friends out there. And it's a really, really good community. I see a lot of the same people year round outside, guys.
Yeah, and so that's interesting to me too, because I would say your approach is very, very healthy versus someone that's trying to make money off of it, maybe, or because like the moment you lead with, hey, there are front end expectations, you got to pay me up front, you got to have it, we're going to have it for 4 hours and that's it. I feel like that's going to not necessarily create a poor reputation, but I just feel like people can read bullshit very quickly.
Yep.
And the way that you're going about it, I feel like they're going to honor that because you've not only shown them firsthand you're doing it right now, but also you're not going to be fibbing them or just being a dick about, okay, 2 hours is up. We're going to be done.
Yeah. No, we can sit here and fish all fucking day if you want. But I
Well,
mean,
another thing too, Don, that I do appreciate about yourself is that you're not you're not one of these guys that tries to show off and drink and fish or try to be a big dick out there. It's like you honor the sport, just like with duck hunting. I feel like you honor the sport, and that's really cool because there's a lot of, I'm sure you know much more than me. There's a lot of guys that probably don't do that.
no, I mean, there's a lot of guys. Don't get me wrong. I like to post pictures of ducks I shoot and fish I catch and stuff like that. But it's more for, you know, I like to post those pictures so my grandma can see it on Facebook.
Shout out to your dad's mom or your mom's mom.
Oh, everybody, and I don't. Everybody knows me. I'm an outdoorsman. I'm not doing it for notoriety. I don't want people to think, hey, that you should have your own fucking fishing show and this and that. I do whatever the goddamn hell I want.
Hell yeah.
I don't do it. I don't want to be one of those guys that has, the sponsored fishing shirts and fishing in tournaments to win $10,000. I've never had the desire. I feel like I'm a very competitive person. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but the outdoors is not something I want to do competitively at all.
Yes. That's
I
so good.
for that at all. I feel like that would completely ruin. I do it to relax, not to get, you know, and I don't think I would change the way I approached it, you know, if I was fishing a tournament or if I was fishing, you know, just for fun. I just, at the end of the day, I'd probably be out, $250 for the tournament fee. So what the fuck's the point? Why not just the price for driving there and putting the gas in the boat?
Right.
Why?
Wait, so have you done any tournaments at all? I'm just curious.
I've done a few. So the local fisheries in Lake City here, they do one every year. It's like
Okay.
$10 entry, and all of that goes towards like it's more of a kids deal. So a lot of that money goes towards getting prizes for the kids, and that's one thing. Like lately, I've been really thinking about that is getting kids in the outdoors is a big deal, especially like
Mm,
today's world is just fucking whack. So the more kids we can get outside and be outdoorsmen, you know, sometimes you got to look your fucking dinner in the face and say, I'm going to eat you. There's not enough people on this planet that realize, you got to fucking kill something to eat.
yes, and this is a very, well, like a small sidebar for us, but I do think that this talks like your philosophy, and I think it's right in today's world, especially, is like there are so many people that want to live in la la land, and we have to stop that.
Yeah.
And when you do actually either directly kill an animal or around someone that does, you immediately are brought to the full circle of life.
Right.
And yeah, if you're listening to this and you think that your meat comes from some magical place that is not killed prior,
Yep.
you're definitely mistaken. But also, let me ask you this, because this would be a fun topic. Like when you think about just life lessons that go into the process of fishing and hunting and the respect that's earned and your appreciation for the sport, like what life lessons do you derive from it either now or have you? Because I feel like it's also bled into other areas of life as well.
Oh, jeez. I feel like the outdoors really, for me, brings me a lot of like peace of mind, and it really makes you realize that, um, God, I don't even know how to put it. I've never really had to put it in words, but I mean, it's being in touch with nature because the world is not made of concrete. The world is made of dirt and organic things, right?
Material. Hell yeah.
So, you know, these I mean, I could go into a long tizzy about it. I that's one thing I'm pretty passionate about is people need to realize that your food comes from people that work 10 times harder than you do. And the lack of appreciation for that pisses me off to no end. I won't.
I know we've had very many conversations there, but well, just to expand on the point brought up a little bit though that I like is, again, we've gotten so far into the information age that we literally forget. Like I can't remember who was on Rogan recently, but they talked about cobalt mining. And he's like, there are people that are literally fucking grinding all day for this fucking cobalt for your fucking iPhone. And it's like, that is exactly what we need to remember. And wood and construction and, food and all that good stuff. But
it's all hypocritical. And, I'm not, I think that sucks. I don't think those people should be in there mining like that. They're basically slaves. I don't think that should be happening, but at the same time, in my backyard, we got all this bullshit happening over here.
right.
Like, to me, the outdoors puts me in touch with the things that, are involved in my life. I don't have to wonder like where that came from. So people wondering, hey, where did this steak come from? It came off of some poor cow, you got fucking people outside of grocery stores protesting, oh, they sell meat here and fucking this and that. And then they're, throwing shit all over the place and just causing a shit fit about nothing, These PETA people for ethical treatment of animals. I think the most ethical treatment of animals you can get is shoot them in the fucking face quick. So when they die of old age, they don't get eaten by a coyote.
Well, and that's the reality that they're not seeing. Like when you go and watch YouTube clips of, I just watched this today, 10 crocodiles that ate a zebra. I don't think the crocodiles gave a shit about what the zebra, what it identified as, or, like what its feelings were. Like,
when you meet a zebra in the afterlife, ask that guy if he would rather have a bullet in the head or get eaten alive by 10 crocodiles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, I do think, going back to the nature comment though, there's both a realism. It's kind of like farming. When you really go on the farm, you see some shit that you're like, oh, okay, that's how that's done. And yeah, it's just this reality that people want to paint that's just not true at all. But nature is beautiful because nature is also like, it's both humbling and it's also it's going to give you its beauty, but it's also going to show you how the world works. And when you're old and sick, you're going to get eaten because it's survival of the fittest. But yet you're going to see a beautiful sunset. Like, that's just, you wake up, you got to compete, and if you lose, you die.
Makes you feel real fucking small when you're out there on your own.
Yeah, well, and this is, I mean, I'm, again, someone that doesn't go regularly, but I hear about different stories of people going out hunting, and I couldn't even imagine coming across a fucking mountain lion or a bear or, whatever thing that could actually fuck you up, a moose. I mean, anything that could literally kill you.
Yeah, we actually, for our honeymoon, we waited a year and we went and backpacked in the Teton Mountains out in Wyoming.
Yes, let's get into that a little bit.
That was something else. I think one of the next things on my bucket list, like I said, I've never been a big deer hunter, but I do think I want to go out and I want to try doing an elk hunt, on public land, and
fuck yeah,
back in 10 days up on a mountain and spot and stalk some elk. I think that would be really fun. That would be, I mean, it's going to take a while because you got to draw in on a lottery for tags there. You can buy over the counter, but that's just such a tough deal. And I don't have the equipment for it. I got the rifle for it, but I don't know what kind of shape I'm in anymore. So,
right. Well, I think it's something to keep on the, like, as long as you can actively work towards that, though, that's still something to like do out there. Cause the moment you would get out there, I know you would be in love. And, so this is kind of cool too. And, this will get right before we go into NASCAR stuff, cause I do want to talk about that a little bit, but, when I go skiing out west, there is just this complete mind shift of like, I am now in the mountains, and there's always this thought that comes to my mind. It's 1830 and I'm just traveling in the fucking just out west. And I come across these and I'm on foot or with a wagon, maybe if I'm lucky. And just to know that there were so many early people that noticed this landscape. And I just feel like it's such an eye-opening experience. And I share all this to say, what was your experience when you go out to Wyoming for the first time?
So I had been out to Colorado once before, but it was more so we were in the foothills and we drove through the Continental Divide and we drove through the Rockies in like south central Colorado through there. Went to the Red Rocks and just a lot of we weren't like really immersed there. We stopped in Vail and Eagle and Glenwood Springs and stuff like that, and didn't really like we didn't hike up any mountains or anything. We were out there, but we didn't hike in. So for our honeymoon, we wanted to go see Yellowstone. Was one of the big things we wanted to do because I've always heard a lot of good things about Yellowstone Park, and that was this last June when they had all that flooding out there. So we got out there and the park was completely closed. And we were supposed to stay in Yellowstone all week, and we were just going to walk around, find a fucking grizzly bear, see a moose, see some elk, maybe get attacked by a mountain lion, who knows. So we got out there, and so we switched our tent reservation to a place in Idaho. And so we drove into Idaho. For the first 3 days, we spent the night in Idaho, and this is middle of June. All right.
Damn.
Middle of June, camping at about 9,000 feet. We got snowed on, rained on, and then the last night, it was actually pretty nice there. Yeah, I mean, it was 21 degrees the first night we were up there.
Ooh, that's fucking cold, dude.
It was bad. I mean, I was totally prepared. I had all of my hunting gear and stuff out there, so I was ready to go. But that was really fun, and me and my buddy Deontay, so we actually did this with a couple of ours that lived in Colorado. So we flew to Denver and we made the drive. It was a 9-hour drive to get up there from Denver.
Damn.
So
it was a swingers trip for you guys.
No, it ain't quite that type of
Sorry, that's my bad.
He's actually one of my best friends. That guy, I'll love him to death.
Dio's great.
So we did that, and me and Deontay would sit around the fire every night. We'd build a fire and sit there like cowboys and drink a bottle of whiskey every night before we went to.
Yeah.
We were packing heat out there, ready for bears and shit. But I mean, we're sleeping on the ground.
I mean,
so we got up. It was the third or fourth day, I believe. We got up and we went into the Teton Park. We backpacked. What did we do? 12 miles that day. We got in there 12 miles, and we were camping all up through the Tetons and just having a hell of a time. It was really cool, and just seeing the mountains, dude. I wonder, God, it's so different for us being where we come from. Imagine living in the mountains and coming to fucking Iowa and seeing nothing but cornfields.
Just being so disappointed.
Yeah. So it has its own beauty, and I have a whole separate gripe with all that. I love farmers, and it's great. But one thing I hate is seeing so much land just covered. I just have such an appreciation for natural land. Like when we go to northern Minnesota, there's so much untouched, just swamp.
Land. Just fucking land.
Lakes.
Hell yeah.
It's untouched. You could rewind 500 years and it will look the same, and I have a really deep appreciation for that type of nature.
So is that what called you to go out there? I mean, outside of just being a badass, or because like what I think is cool is you have that already built up from childhood, and then you get to go to probably the most authentic outdoors you could probably get arguably in the United States, outside of Alaska.
We debated what we wanted to do for our honeymoon, and I mean, women, it was Mexico. Let's go to the Bahamas.
No.
I ain't going out of the fucking country. If you can't drink the water, I don't want to go, basically was what I said. So we got to talking about it, and So our friends Kayla and Deontay that live out there, we hadn't seen them in a while, and we got to talking about it. We're like, we should go to Yellowstone. Well, hell, we're looking for a honeymoon, so let's just do it, you know. So we booked it, and off we went. That's what we did, and we
Oh
got
yeah.
opened the Yellowstone Park the last half of the trip there, so we got to go.
Nice.
I didn't really get to see a whole lot of it because I was puking out of the passenger seat of the car. We drank too much whiskey the night before. We met some boys from Illinois who were camping right next to us in one of the campgrounds we stayed at. So we got pretty liquored up there with some Midwest folks. So.
Hell yeah, you got to celebrate that. There always is Midwest folks in all the places you would never expect them to be Midwest folks.
Well, that was a hell of a time. That was the best vacation I think I've ever had in my life. I've taken a lot of really fun vacations, but that one takes the cake for sure.
Yeah, you can't compete with just what you're in and the experience of being there with, Dio and also your wife and his soon to be wife now, correct?
Yep, they're getting married in September. I get to be the best man at his wedding, so that's
Oh man.
speeches.
Wait, where'd you meet him at again?
So I met when I moved to Winona and I was living with 9 girls. Him and Kayla started dating. They dated in high school, and then they were kind of an on again, off again thing for a while. And then she dated another guy when I first met Mags. And then later on, they got back together. And she's like, "You're really gonna like him. He's kind of a redneck. And he walks in, and I was like,
Kind of a redneck. What does that mean? You're not a redneck. You're not that redneck.
we're yeehaws." So he walks in, and we got to talking that night, and we were drinking Sammy Sosa's. He drinks half of his Corona, and he pours some tequila in it, and we got all fucked up on that, and we've been best buddies since.
Oh shit, that sounds like a good time.
Stuff together now, and it's a hell of a time.
Yeah, he's a great dude. Just spending some time with him at your wedding was a freaking joy. I'd love to drink beer with him again sometime.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
He is. All right, so we're about $1:30 into this thing, but I do want to touch on NASCAR before we get wrapped up here. So I bring this up for 2 reasons, because much like to the outside world, let's say, for people that there's probably more people that have an appreciation for either fishing or hunting or both than NASCAR. But I think it's interesting that it's something that you have gone as far as to get the simulator in your house on for, which is fucking sweet. But were you always into NASCAR, or
Yeah.
when did this happen? Because I feel like the last 3 years is when you just started getting after it.
Yeah, so as a kid growing up, dude, our family was really big into it. And so actually the local bar in Ryan, we would go down there, and they had what was called a race pool, which basically all 43 drivers that were starting, they put them on a list, and you would pick your driver, and whoever had, if there was 10 people, whoever had the highest finishing driver won the pool that week, and everybody puts in $5. So my brother and I, so my parents liked to party when we were kids, right? So we go down.
Hell yeah.
Well, actually, they would go down to the bar, and they didn't want to pay no damn babysitter. So they would take us down there, and they would just get us a roll of quarters, and we would play the touchscreen games up on the bar, And so we would always get to enter in to the race pool every week. And so we would always obviously pick the guys we were rooting for, unless somebody else picked them before us. But we would win pretty much every damn week.
Jeez.
I was, just, knee high to an ant, and just tiny little kid. And me and my brother were taking everybody's money down at the Ryan pub.
Hell yeah.
It just, one of my earliest memories as a kid was that I can remember is Dale Earnhardt winning at Talladega in 2000. And I would have been 6 at the time, I think. So that was one of my earliest memories. And then a year later, he gets killed, and then 9/11 happens. So those are like my earliest memories as a kid.
Damn.
All the racing stuff and, all that big stuff that happened when we were kids. So, I was always into it. Got to meet my childhood hero, Bobby Labonte, when I was 10. He was in Farley signing autographs at the dirt track.
Holy shit.
that was huge. Got a signature on a hat and a T-shirt that I got. Just always been into it, and then kind of as you get to be a teenager, you kind of phase out of some things.
Yeah.
So
Well, we all did, kind of.
and I just you run out of time. When do you got time to watch NASCAR when you're out? You're 15, you're out getting drunk with your buddies. You don't got time to watch no fucking NASCAR.
Right.
And so just as I started getting older and started settling down, and Sunday nights I was actually at home and I was able to sit in front of a television, I was like, what, God damn it, I'm going to turn on a NASCAR race.
See what's going on.
Yeah. So I mean, I always kept up with it. I knew who was who and who was winning all the time and all that. But I never completely got out of it. I just wasn't watching all the time. And
That's fair.
just recently, like you said, the last 4 or 5 years, I've just been pretty much immersed back into it. It's been a big part of my hobbies, and I've been to the Daytona 500 the last couple of years, and
Hell yeah, dude.
been,
Which I don't know if I can't quite remember how we left off on this, but I have it fully planned in my calendar to go with you next year, 2024.
been 4. I'll save
To
it.
Daytona. Yeah, dude, for real. So the reason I wanted to bring it up is golf, tennis, there's some sports that you watch on TV and it just doesn't seem that hard to do.
Right.
And then when you go in person, it's like, Jesus, this is fucking insane. So how would you describe that? Like not only going to NASCAR races and feeling the energy, but also like just Daytona. I feel like you can't, Daytona sounds just amazing.
So like in my situation with you specifically, if you're going to take a guy to a race, you take him to the Daytona 500. That's what you do.
Yeah.
It's a very niche sport. It's got a very certain type of fan and crowd. It's a bunch of yeehaw fucking rednecks, but it's the most fun, and it's not what people think it is. It's not just driving fast and turning left.
Yes, this is what I wanted you to elaborate on a little bit.
So imagine going down a highway, right? And let's say it's I-35, 70-mile-an-hour speed limit. And let's say you got to go side by side for 500 miles next to this guy, right?
Yeah.
And you're not only next to him, like how comfortable you are on the highway where you're 2-3 feet apart from the car next to you.
Right.
Try 2, 3, 4 inches.
Oh.
Try driving up to his bumper and tapping him and pushing him forward. Try that at 80 miles an hour. Okay, so now think about that and take that and do it at 185, 190, 200 mile an hour. Think about that.
Yeah.
It is not this stupid little, get in my car and just crank the wheel. It's not that. It's a game of inches, more so than football, right? It's the most technical sport, and it is a sport. I will put money on that. Guys lose 10, 15 pounds a race.
Oh, I fucking believe it just because of not only that description that you gave, but the level of intensity that's got to be there with the level of competition. That's where it's like, holy shit.
So I don't know a lot of sports, right? You're thinking, let's talk about baseball, right? So you're at the plate and you're relaxed. You're walking up to the plate, right? You're messing with your batting gloves, getting everything comfortable. And then you basically, what you do is you wipe everything clean. Right. And you zone out and you do your routine. Everything is, black and white. This is what you do. Okay. You're not thinking about anything. And it's the most focused you've ever been in your life. Pitch comes, it's a ball outside. You step out of the box, right? And you reset. So for those 6 seconds that you are laser focused, now imagine that for 3 hours straight. So there's not a lot of things like that. Football, you get how long is
Breaks.
a play? How long is a play?
Right, 7 seconds, yeah, ish.
Right? So you got 7 seconds, laser intense focus, like fucking laser focus. All right. Think about basketball. Imagine, you know how relaxed you get sometimes,
Right.
you
You're
know,
just playing.
right? Right? You're just trying to be the right spot at the right time, and you get the ball in your hands, and now you're laser focused.
Right.
Now imagine you are 2, 3, 4 inches away from somebody for 500 miles straight, trying to keep your car off them because the slightest contact will put you into a wall head on at 200 miles an hour.
And
You can,
so the level of mental endurance they have to have is probably like nothing else.
and cardio too. You're running 165 beats a minute for 3 hours straight. It's basically run.
Yeah, and this is exactly why I want to bring this up, because it's not just, I mean, we're far past just driving around in a circle, but like these are fucking athletes at the
Yep.
end of the day.
Yep.
And there is the margin for error so small.
Yep. And if you, yeah, it might look like they just drive it down in a corner and they're making the corner, right? But it can come down to if there's a seam in the asphalt, you know, you don't want to put your tires on that seam in the asphalt. And if you miss it by a half an inch, you know, you're losing tenths of a second, hundredths of a second. And it comes down to, that's why I say it's more of a game of inches.
Right.
The ball. It's tenths and hundreds and thousandths of a second. A thousandth of a second. If a team can make up a thousandth of a second, they're gonna do it.
So then let me touch on this a little bit. So the premise of NASCAR is the fastest time to do 500 laps in this particular setting.
Well, it's not so much the fastest time; it's whoever crosses the finish line first, which ends up being the fastest time that the race is completed in. Um, it's more so. It's not like you're pedal to the metal, flat out throttle all the time. Um, there's a lot that goes into, I mean, your tires are only so good, right? So you're not trying to overdrive your tires, because if they wear out too quick, you will slow down and you'll do nothing. You'll be basically be a parachute going backwards through the field. So a lot of it's tire management. So you're driving along probably 85, 90%, just, you know, trying to keep pace, but not trying to overstep. And then it comes down to the last, let's say it's a 500-mile race, 200 laps at Daytona is 500 miles. So it gets down to that last, I would say you can notice in the last 40 to 50 laps that there's a different tone. Even you can hear it. You can hear it in the engines of the cars. You can hear the desperation that guys have to just make up ground right now.
Wow.
And
See,
it's
and that's something that you probably only gather when you're at the event. You can just hear and feel it, and like
seeing a race on TV has absolutely nothing to do with what it is in person. You have no idea. Where we sit for the Daytona 500, it's kind of at the exit of turn 4, between the exit of turn 4 and the finish line. And so when they go by you, like, yeah, it looks fast, but then they go over the start finish line and it's like a little slight turn that they make through there. And they go down through that little short chute into turn 1, and just watching them, like, you can tell the speed that they have up against the wall, and that flash of speed that they have is, I mean, you've never seen anything like it in your life.
yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. I feel like that's why it would be so like altering, because there's just nothing in everyday life that would even come close to replicating that.
Oh, and you can't. It's not like you can You can get your buddies together. You can go, hey, throw some BP. Hey, let's play a game of one-on-one basketball. Hey, let's run some routes with the football.
Yeah.
You can't just get in a car and go 200 mile an hour, in practice. There's
Well,
no.
I'd say hell, even, you get your buddy with your trucks and just even go 100 mile an hour without fucking something up. I mean, that would be
That's
impressive.
fuck it up and somebody's gonna kill.
Exactly. And these guys are going twice that easy.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I don't know. It gets a lot of. I mean, there's a lot of misconceptions about it, and it is what it is. And I don't care if you know if you hate it, you hate it. If it's not your thing, so be it. But if you're sitting there and you're thinking, they're just a bunch of stupid rednecks, you're probably right. But
But
hear me out. Go to a race one time, and the coolest thing about Daytona, I'll tell you, is you can bring your own beer in there. You can take a 30 rack in there.
oh hell.
That shit, it's the most fun you've ever had in your life. But just go in there and sit in the stands, drink 6-pack, and watch them cars go real fast, and tell me you're not having fun.
Yeah. And so when you go down there, most people from the South, or are there a lot of Midwesterners that gravitate down there?
So the thing about Daytona is it's the biggest race of the year, and it draws a crowd. People from everywhere. There's a lot of people from Canada, a lot of people from out west, a lot of people from the Midwest too. So, um,
So that's maybe a bad example of an everyday fan then.
yeah. So an everyday fan would be more something like later on in the year, like when you go to a track like I don't know, like at Charlotte, where NASCAR's headquartered out of Charlotte. So a track like that draws more the local crowd. Like that's all those people, they're going out to their local short tracks on the other weeks when NASCAR's not in town, and it's a community out there. And I mean, racing down there is something else. I've always wanted to get down that way. I'm trying to go to more tracks every now and again, and I'd like to get down to Phoenix with Dudek being down there. Trying to get him to a race.
They got a track in Phoenix. What do they got in Phoenix?
It's just a little 1 mile track. It's not. It doesn't put on the best racing, but I mean, even you go there in person, I'm sure it's a totally different ball game. I mean, it's cars going 160 mile an hour.
Yeah.
How could it not be?
Well, I was just gonna say, I feel like we should do, because I know Wall would be in on that for sure, and maybe Jack, but I feel like just an annual trip somewhere in the country to go watch a NASCAR race. I feel like that'd be fun enough to get fucked up and have a good time.
Crazy, dude. Talladega, Alabama has the
Oh,
greatest infield you've ever heard of in your life. I'm talking, it's like Mardi Gras for a week straight.
oh my God, that just sounds overwhelming.
It's nuts. And I think that would be a lot of fun. That would
Them
be the perfect bachelor party. That's bachelor party atmosphere times 1,000.
Talladega. I did not know that was in Alabama.
Yeah. Yep.
That just makes it even more the better because people down south, they just get fucking hammered for sure.
Yeah. No, that would be a perfect place to go. I mean, there's really not a bad place to go. I mean, even Michigan Speedway, I saw my first NASCAR Cup race at Michigan Speedway back in like 2004. My parents took us on a trip up there, and that was really cool. And even there, I mean, that's a big party spot too. But that's a bunch of local Midwesterners. Nobody travels fucking Michigan to go to a NASCAR race.
I was just gonna say, most people are traveling down south. They're not going up north.
Yeah, people travel to go to like Bristol. They go to Daytona, and that's pretty much it. People don't. It's not like a travel thing, but they cover so much of the country. They stop in Kansas. They stop in St. Louis.
Kansas, man, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there it's like a tour, right? Like a golf tour. Like you go to just different spots and you're just racing, right?
Yep. Yep. 36 weeks of the year. They start in February, end in early November.
Wow. Okay, golf, you have 4 majors.
Yep.
What for NASCAR, do you have like 3 or 4 majors? So
Yeah,
obviously Talladega and Daytona, I'm sure up there.
there's some races that are more important. Obviously, the Daytona 500 is the biggest, and that's the first race of the year. It's so ass backwards.
That sucks.
No, it doesn't suck. It's actually that's
To
what
start off that way though, I feel like damn.
it's the biggest race of the year. If you winning the Daytona 500 is like winning a Super Bowl almost.
Oh, I guarantee it is. I feel like
But it doesn't come down to, you know,
points and shit, right?
it's not that. That's how you start the year off is with your
Damn.
race of the year, and then everything after that is just it's grinding your ass off for 35 weeks. But yeah, so Daytona 500 is number one. The Bristol night race in August is number two. That is, um, I mean, Dale Earnhardt dominated those for years, and everybody knows who Dale Earnhardt is. If you don't know who Dale Earnhardt is, get the fuck out of America, pack your bags. Um, I would say after that, the Southern 500 at Darlington and the Coke 600 at Charlotte.
Mm.
Those are
Wait, where's Bristol at?
Bristol's in Tennessee. It's up in the mountains, Thunder Valley.
Thunder Valley.
Tiny
Dude,
little,
this is you talking about this has got me motivated to go see some of these tracks because you just don't know what crawls out of the woodwork for that.
so for perspective for you, Daytona is 2.5 miles, right? That's how long the course is. That's how long.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Bristol is a half mile.
Holy fuck. So they're just
Yeah, but
fucking hammering it out.
imagine 40 cars on 2.5 miles can get spread out to all fuck, right? But because of the way air works, aerodynamics, they all stay relatively close together. You know, there's a few that get picked off, but I mean, there's just so much track there. Now imagine 40 cars on a half mile. I mean, there's not a spot on the track that doesn't have a car on it.
Wow.
So it's basically like taking, um, you know, 10 pissed off grizzly bears and throwing them in your living room.
Right. Just good luck.
Yeah, go for it.
See who wins.
Yeah. So that's Bristol's, I mean, it is what it is. That's a lot of people say that's a place you should take a first time race fan, you know.
And I would be open to that, but I just feel like it's hard for me to not go to the Daytona 500 with you and the gang.
Just speaking from experience being at Daytona the last few years, it's just the way it feels. It's sold out crowd. There's 250,000 people.
So I laugh because I went down to the Waste Management Classic with Dudag, and I can't remember how many people were there, but I was just blown away by the volume of fucking people. And to know there's 250K that go there, that's crazy.
Yeah, but you know the difference between the Daytona 500 and then the Waste Management Classic? You can get drunk and make an ass out of yourself in a NASCAR race and not get kicked out of the fucking place.
That's true. Yeah, you can't bring your alcohol into a golf tournament. Yeah, golf is a weird sport that way. It's so pretentious sometimes, and I'm like, you're just hitting a fucking ball and
I would
in
fuck
a hole. But
so much if I could show up to a tournament and somebody, you know, they're sitting there about the backswing and be like, pussy.
yeah, just try to throw them off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm learning more about golf, and I do respect and love the sport, but there needs to be more entertainment with it.
no, I totally agree. That's another niche sport, and it's very, very hard to do.
It's very technical. I'm not going to say it's like NASCAR, but I understand the parallels between the two as far as like you don't just go up and hit it. You have to shot shape. You have to know how to put spin on it and all that good stuff. That's not what I don't know. But just to round out the pod here, Don,
Sure.
who is so in sports we know how we talk goats and all that good stuff. So who is NASCAR goats, or if there is a single goat, who is it?
It's fucking Dale Earnhardt.
Is it Dale?
Yeah.
So what is it, most wins, or what makes him the GOAT?
Oh, he doesn't have the most wins. I mean, Richard Petty had 200 of them. Dale only had 76. But so the thing about Dale is he'd wreck you for a win, right? Clean spin you out, just fucking wipe you out, you know. And he'd come up to you after the race and he'd put his arm around you and be like, hey, had to do it. Didn't mean to, something. He always had something, but he was everybody's best friend and he'd have done anything for anybody. And he just embodied what it was to be a real, like, hard ass, fucking cowboy and nose to the grindstone type guy. And there's not a lot of that left in NASCAR anymore.
Really? That's too bad.
They're a bunch of pansies.
Yeah, and that's where, I mean, we could make that argument for all sports, but there is this beautiful like appreciation from people who played in because when did he race? Probably the 80s.
He started in the late 70s. He started in the Cup Series and he raced all the way through 2001 when he died at the Daytona 500.
Oh, he died on a track.
Yes, he was killed last lap of the 2001 Daytona 500.
Dude, so it was meant to be for sure. No offense to him, but
yep. Well, he died doing what he loved, and I mean that doesn't make anybody feel any better about it. But
still, it's in some ways like an honorary send off.
The last thing he saw was his kid going. He was in third place, and his son Dale Jr. was in front of him, and a car that he owned was in front of Dale Jr. And the last thing he ever saw was those two cars taking off to go win the Daytona 500.
No way.
He head on into the wall, hung a hard right. I mean, he got turned, hung a hard right into the wall, head on at 200. And that was back before. I mean, they made a bunch of safety changes after that. But
yeah, well, to have a legend of the sport die is, I mean, that's in and of itself, it's tough. Well, but to have him die competing, I mean, that's insane.
There's back in the 50s and 60s, dude. I mean, it was once, twice a year somebody was getting killed in a race.
Dude, that's in our next podcast. We need to remember to talk about that because that's insane. The history of racing. Yeah, back in the day, I bet there was absolutely no regulation to any of that shit.
Well, the only regulation was you had to have a roll cage, had to be a stock vehicle, which is why they call it stock cars.
Okay.
But they're not stock anymore, obviously. But, I mean, it all started from moonshiners back during the Prohibition days.
Dude, how dare you bring that up as we're getting wrapped up. We're going to save that for next time. But now, with the GOAT conversation, are you saying that because you're personally biased, or is that the industry standard?
There's a lot of, I would say it's half and half. A lot of people lean towards Dale just because he was fairly recent, 176 races. That's enough to be considered in that conversation. There's guys, Richard Petty won 200 races, but that was back before. I mean, he was racing 6 times a month.
Holy shit! Yeah, so that's not a fair metric.
Month, so he was running a lot more races than what they do now. And obviously, competition has come a long way since then. So for Dale to do it in a more modern style racing series than what it was before,
yeah,
makes it more valid. A lot of people say Jimmy Johnson, which he just retired a couple of years ago. He won 83 or 84 races, won 7 championships. I mean, there's a lot to be said. And you could say the same about him. He was a more modern racer, probably had to be more technical and stuff. But, I mean, he wasn't racing back in the 80s when
right
they were running bias ply radials and everything in between. There's so much that goes into that. It's
yeah, the debate is so fun to have and so interesting because you're either measuring based off of how good you are with limited resources versus how good you are with all resources. So it's like a little bit unfair, but yet there's such grittiness and toughness in those guys and gals back in the day that it's hard to because I shoot shit with the old man about football and basketball and stuff, and he's like, oh, in the 70s and 80s, they used to just beat the shit out of guys in basketball. I'm like, yeah, that's fair. But also, is that actually basketball, or is that just them fucking taking somebody out for no reason? It's like, what is how do you constitute that? But no, it's interesting. What's that?
Sit into that now. Like, we're too soft now.
I know. Oh, for sure. We're too soft now. There's no doubt about that. But no, it's interesting to get your take on things. But all right, bro. I think we're 2 beers down. We're ready to get wrapped up.
Ooh, 3.
Oh shit! I only had 2 and a water, so.
Ah,
Hell yeah. Well, hope you guys enjoyed first episode of Life with Nick podcast with Don, and we'll definitely see you back here, bud.
yeah, thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun. I'd never had anybody ask me to do a damn podcast before, so this is pretty damn cool.
Hell yeah, dude. It came out exactly as I wanted it to come out. So all right, until next time, guys.